What's up, guys?
Welcome back to another episode of
Of
Whiskey and
and water.
Water. Liv always
We are,
starts after me.
I'm sorry. I
No, you're
apologize.
good.
We are back. I got some frames up in my home office.
If you guys are watching this,
Things are
I'm still in
happening.
a I'm still in a crusty, rusty, dusty men's room. Sorry.
Men's room. That sounds like a bathroom.
Oh,
I'm coming to
I'm
you
in a
live
men's
from
room.
a men's gas station bathroom.
From a porter potty,
Oh my
actually.
god, stop it.
It's the only privacy I could get.
Okay, we guys hope you're having a great hope you had a great weekend. Hope your week is off to a great start. We're back at it again with an amazing episode with our guest Cindy Prado. She is just she's fire. She's great.
She's a bad bitch.
Yeah,
Oh
we
my god.
have
Do you hear
what?
Nugget in the background? Nugget! Little shit. Cindy is
Anyways,
an all-around bad bitch. She's amazing. She's inspiring. A wine aficionado, an Instagram influencer, and content creator.
yeah, we have known Cindy for a few years now, and she's just always been an influencer that we both have looked up to. She has grown to over 1 million followers. She's constantly creating quality content, and she just inspires us to just like she really sets the fucking bar, man, for content creation.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
actually I don't know if you know this, but I went to Croatia with her. Remember when I went to
Yes.
Croatia? She was on that trip.
Yeah, with the
Yeah.
Alexa.
That was such
Fun
a good
stuff.
time.
Yeah, but she's always been super inspirational. Her content's always radiating like happiness and positivity. She,
Confidence.
confidence. She takes these videos of herself dancing every morning at like literally 7 in the morning, like dancing her ass off in her mirror with so much energy. And like she's just someone who you look at and you're like, how the fuck do you have so much energy? So
Mhm.
we get all into it. We ask her all the questions that Jess and I have been dying to ask her. And yeah, it's just a really, really great conversation that we know you guys are gonna love.
Yep. I think that just about wraps it up, brother. So,
Yeah, do you have anything? I mean, do you want to do a little catch up? Do you have anything exciting? Any
guys,
quarantine stories?
nothing exciting going on in my life.
Yeah.
Still dealing. I'm really all I'm focusing on right now is learning my new angles with this shaved
Oh,
head. So that's
gotcha.
that's about all we're going through right now.
I mean, that's a task. That's a task in and of itself for sure.
100%.
You got no part to play with now, so I could see how that gets a little
Oh,
tricky.
can't hide the ugly half of my face with my hair.
Oh,
It's hard out here.
tragic.
It's hard out here.
Tragic. Well, in my quarantine news, I waxed Tyler's nose hair a few days ago, so that was fun.
Oh my god, wait, I'm sorry. You just reminded me. First, I need to hear about this. Two, you just reminded me that Tyler was in my dream last night, but keep going.
Oh, tell
I'll
me
I'll
more.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you about this, but I wanna hear how he, 1, allowed you to do this, and 2, what his reaction was. 3, did you film it?
Okay, yes, yes, and yes. So basically, of course I filmed it, duh.
Yes.
So he just has his nose hairs are like fucking wild, man. Like they just
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
don't know if it's like a guy thing. I don't know what it is, but he's like always complaining about them. He's always just like, oh, I don't know what to do with them. I'm like, so for years we were like, we need to try waxing them and just rip them all out at the same time.
Oh,
Cause you know how they have the trimmers. So I've like got him a
yeah.
trimmer and then he's like, yeah, but then they grow back itchy, which like I totally get. So that's
Really?
horrible.
That's so
Yeah.
interesting.
So I bought like this $15 fucking nose waxer off Amazon and we did the damn thing. And honestly, it was great. It worked. It did
But did it hurt?
oh
I
yeah.
can imagine it hurting like a
Oh yeah.
bitch.
Okay, but what he said was that okay, the first time I did it, I like pussied out and like didn't I thought I know it's horrible. I like thought I did like a hard pull, but I didn't, and then it was just like still stuck in there. I was like, "Oh my god, I'm sorry." But then so he said that one hurt really bad, but then the other side, I like got good at it and I was like, "I'm not going to let go." Cuz the first time I kind of just like slipped out of my hand. But the second time I
Oof.
did it, and it was good. And he was like, honestly, it like that hurts just as bad as like pulling one out, which I was surprised to hear,
Okay.
but also
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I could probably say the same for, like, waxing your eyebrows, like,
Yeah,
doing the entire
right.
thing is just as bad as, like, doing a little bit.
Yeah, so,
Huh.
I mean, 10 out of 10 recommend. If nose hair is an issue for you, go on Amazon, do the damn
She'll
thing.
send you the link.
Now's the time. Swipe up for the nose hair waxing kit. Use my
You use my
code.
code.
So, yeah, that's what's happening over here.
That's so funny.
Tell me about your dream.
Oh, yeah. So, well, it sucks because I wish it was something funny or, like,
Oh.
interesting, but, I have nightmares. So,
Oh, well,
like,
then I don't wanna hear about it.
I mean, wait, no, so it's not bad.
Okay.
But I just any dream that I talk about, it's a nightmare. So,
Okay.
but no, I had a dream that I was like running around New York City, and this man was like trying to chase me because he was trying to tell me something, but I was convinced he was
And
trying
then
to
Tyler
attack
pulled up
me.
and was like, "Get in the car."
Type shit. No, he actually. I think you were there. Like we had been leaving a venue. You weren't there like in my immediate dream, but you were there like
Mhm.
in my subconscious.
Mhm.
And no, he Tyler like pulled up, scared the guy away, and I was so scared. And he like put his arm around me. He's like, "Come on, we're
Oh.
getting out of here." And I was like,
Oh, so
"Thanks,
he was
Ty."
your superhero.
He was, but don't tell him that
Yeah.
because
'Cause
because
he's gonna come and be
he'll be
like, "I
like,
saved you,
"I
bitch."
saved you." He's gonna be like, "You owe me, dude. You owe me." Like he's so stupid.
Literally 100%. That's hilarious. I've actually been having some weird dreams too. I think this is like a quarantine coronavirus thing because my dreams have been definitely more vivid and like maybe it's all the Ozark I'm watching. I don't know. So
Maybe you're
I don't know
playing.
if I explained the storyline, but it's basically like money laundering and like FBI is involved. I had a dream like after watching it all day. I had a dream that like Tyler and I were wired. Like we had like what's it called? Like
Like that you were narcs?
no, that we were like not narcs, but like
Narcotics?
what do they call when you have a bug? Like we were bugged. That's what they call when you have like a
Yeah,
mic
yeah.
hidden on you.
Yeah, no,
And then
you were being narcs.
yeah, I don't know. It's weird. But then I also and I'm definitely watching too much of this fucking show because then we go on this walk yesterday and I'm overhearing this guy and I see him leaning on his car and I swear from the corner of my eye it looks like he's holding a pistol and then I look and it's a cigar but the way he was holding it and like talking to people I was like oh my god I was like babe we're watching too much Ozark like this
That's
is
so
got to
funny.
stop.
It's crazy what the mind can convince you is reality, dude. Like, that just scares
And
me.
I knew I was gonna have fucked up dreams that night. Thankfully, it wasn't like violent, but I knew I was gonna have dreams. We were watching it all day,
That's
so
why I
yeah,
can't dude, I literally can't watch certain shows because the minute I, like, allow them into my, like, mind and my psyche,
yeah, for
I
sure.
I have dreams about it. Like, I watched, going a little off topic here, but I watched Invisible Man, which have you
Mhm.
seen that yet?
No.
So it's about this girl who's married to this guy who's this psychopath, but he creates like these invisible suits, and basically he convinces
Oh,
her that
I've
she's like,
seen trailers for it.
yeah, honestly, really fucking good movie. But I had a dream that I had to fight off an invisible man.
That's
So
scary. Yeah,
yeah,
no.
my
Ooh,
mind is fucked up.
fuck,
I
fuck,
can't watch
nah.
anything that's like like semi scary because my mind's
Fucked
just
up.
like it's gonna happen to you.
Yeah, no, fuck that. All right,
um,
so let's just get into our conversation with Cindy. Guys, if you're watching, please screenshot, post in your story. We love, love, love seeing it. It means so much to us. Yeah, and if you enjoy this, just let others know about it so they can enjoy it
yeah.
too.
100%, brother.
All
Alrighty,
right.
let's hop into it with Cindy. This is going to be a great episode. We love you guys.
See you on the other side.
All right, and we are here with Cindy. How are you today, babe?
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
What is up? How are you? Happy Easter. We just
Ew,
like
I'm doing good, honestly. It's a beautiful day. I had a beautiful Easter. I was actually telling my boyfriend yesterday it's probably one of the best Easters I've ever had. And you would
Aw.
think it would be the worst one, right? Like we're stuck in quarantine.
Mm,
And we had such a good time that we honestly, it was like surreal how good of a time we had. I was
love
Good.
that.
we did like the balcony party and just like seeing everybody being happy and like we probably did more activities than we would like just going and eating
Normally.
one.
Yeah. I think it's cool because it's like everyone has to find a way to be creative
Yeah,
and have fun in creative ways that we're not used to.
we end up doing,
So
or at least doing different things than you normally would have done. So yeah, it was a
yeah.
really
Good. Okay, well, I guess just to start off this interview, tell the people a little bit about what you do. I guess, you know, as a job, job. I forgot how to spell job for a second.
Fuck a job,
That's like
but
the worst question when you're going to like an airport or somewhere official and they say, "What's your job description?" And I'm like, "What do I write here?"
Like when you're
yeah.
applying to live somewhere and
No,
it's
but
like, what's your
yeah, like, one of
occupation?
those
And you're
super
like,
documents, and I'm like, "What do I put? Like, am I an influencer?" Like, I always just put like marketing, just so it sounds
yeah,
more
yeah,
official,
I
right?
say social media, like marketing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
always.
but yeah, I'm a social media influencer, model. I now have a cooking show thanks to Corona. So
Shout
yeah,
out. That's awesome. I
yeah.
saw I saw we actually were sending each other like your fucking cooking videos and we were like, this bitch can do it all. Like
Well, I
you're
just
awesome.
post
You're
the things
such
I
an
could do, so
inspiration.
that's why it seems that way.
What'd you say?
I only post the things I could do, so that's why it seems that way.
There you go.
Very true. It's a
Fake it till you
highlight
make it.
reel,
Yeah.
but your highlight reel is a good one. So how did you originally get into social media?
So I started off kind of in the beginning, like when Instagram first started off. I always really wanted to do it, and I always really wanted to model, but I couldn't get signed to any agency because I'm not tall enough. But I was kind of like, no, look, this is what I want to do, and I was super, super into
Mm-hmm.
fashion. And Instagram came around, and it was kind of a way for people like to model if they wanted to, even though it's not really modeling. It's influencing now, but back then I was like, I'm just gonna take photos and I would spend my own money, like go to Zara or Forever 21 and like buy an outfit and then go take professional photos and then tag the stores, pretty much promoting them for free and giving them content for free and post it on my page. And of course, if for example you post something wearing Pretty Little Thing and they repost it on their page, then you get some more followers. I mean, I started when I had like 100 followers. So I just worked for free for like a good 2 years and just would take
That's
photos, buy clothes, and eventually what happens is a brand comes to your page and sees that you're collaborating with all these brands, but you're not really collaborating with them, you're doing it yourself. And then they're
mm,
like, oh wow, I like her photos, let me message her and send her some clothes. So for me, once I started doing it for the free clothes, I wasn't even getting paid yet, just getting free clothes. Even that was like insane. I was so happy. Me and my mom would like jump up and down and say, oh my God, I'm getting free clothes. It's like a dream come true. So kind of just like that, just like doing it on my own.
That's so
Yeah.
funny because that's literally like the exact same way that I know I got into it. Olivia has been modeling like for a few years, but that's exactly how I got into it. I would literally buy, it was more like bikinis. Like I started off more in like the swimwear realm. I'd literally buy bikinis, tag them, and then exactly what you said. Like once I started getting them for free, I was like, oh my God, like this is
It's
it.
so
I
worth
made
it.
it.
And
That's
then now
awesome.
they can't even send us something for free. We're like, wait, hold on, we don't have any space for this.
Yeah, honestly, it's about like the space at this point. It's like I can't, I don't have anywhere to put your stuff. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know.
But
But I
it's
mean,
Influencer
such a
problems.
I know, actually, as I
So
said that, I was
cringy.
like
So cringy. But cool. Okay, wait, before we get too much into this conversation, we want to ask you your pro tip.
tip.
okay,
So go
so
ahead and give it to the people.
my pro tip is to win the morning. And as you guys know, I'm a huge advocate for waking up and dancing in front of your mirror and starting your day off right. And I don't think everybody needs to dance per se, but I think just doing one task in the morning. And I actually learned this from my boyfriend. He read a book and he told me when he read the book, it said something, I might be saying it wrong, but it was something about if you just wake up and do one task or two tasks, very simple, obviously you're sleepy, it's going to set the pace for the rest of your day. And if you think about it, if you wake up and like just make your bed, like something as simple as making your bed, you already got up, you moved, you made your bed, it looks beautiful, it doesn't look like someone just got up from it, and then you're ready to do another task and another task and another task. Whereas if you just wake up and like roll over and like get on your phone and like, it's like you have a slower start. For me, I like to dance in front of my mirror because it's the same way as they say if you're not having a good day, if you just smile, it tricks your brain into thinking you're happier. well, only happy people dance, you know, like miserable people aren't going around dancing, right? So even if you're not having a good day, if you get up and you start dancing and you get your blood flowing, like I promise it sets the pace for the rest of your day and you just start off in a way better mood.
Okay, I'm
Love that.
literally going to try this because, Cindy, my mornings are like the worst habit that I've been trying to break for literally like the past 2 years. I read Miracle Morning Millionaires, like I've tried so many things and I just cannot break this habit of like staying in bed for like an hour or two. And it's so self-sabotaging. And I'm gonna try dancing. You've inspired me.
But I love even that she said getting up and making your bed, because that's
God,
quite literally.
my poster just fell off the fucking wall. Hold on.
Creepy. Yeah.
Okay,
That's so random.
continue. I'm gonna pretend that didn't
Is
happen.
it okay? Did it break?
No, there's actually there's no glass on there. It's just paper.
Oh, word.
Pro
All
tip.
right. Yeah, right. Truly. Here's how to get that matte finish that you're looking for. Um, no, but I love that she said get up and like make your bed, because that's literally been one of our pro tips. And I feel like that's just so aligned with like what we think as well. Um, moving on,
Yeah.
Liz.
Um yeah, so like I don't know. We probably are going to talk about this in the intro when we talk about you, but you are just someone who is always constantly sharing like positivity on your feed. You always have so much energy. Like that's something that Jess and I talk about too. We're like, how does she have so much energy? Like what is she drinking? Is she on drugs? Like what is the secret? Because we need whatever she is doing. But
Cindy, I want whatever you're smoking.
On drugs.
yeah, literally. But no, so for those of you who don't already follow Cindy, she wakes up in the morning. She like almost every morning she records this video of herself dancing while she's brushing her teeth in the mirror, just like radiating positivity. And it's
Mm-hmm.
so inspiring. I know you have such a loyal audience who like really looks forward to your content because it is so uplifting and just inspiring in that way. So I kind of just want to, well, okay, we'll get into that later. I do want to talk a little more about your social media career and like how you kind of really mastered the skill because your content is next level. Like not even to gas you up, like it really is like you're setting the bar for influencers and especially during this time of quarantine when like we could be lacking inspiration because we don't have locations and maybe brands aren't as interested in working together right now. I feel like your content has almost gone to the next level in quarantine. You introduce this new cooking side of yourself, which you've always had, but you're really like making it more professional now and kind of you're working with brands to do the cooking show. So I don't know, like what inspires you to keep your quality of content and especially during like really trying times like this?
Well, obviously I love what I do and that's why I'm really happy with being able to have the opportunity to do something that I love and that I'm passionate about. And it's kind of even the way that I look at life, like you have to make the best out of every situation. So if this is what I love doing and now I'm stuck in my house, I'm going to make the best out of the situation. And even well, my content, like I'll figure something out. Like I did that kiddie pool outside and all those things to make things creative. But even I was like, okay, now I have a little bit of extra time on my hands. And I always wanted to do the cooking show. And I actually tried starting it like 2 years ago and I did like 2 videos and then I had to stop because I sometimes, like you guys said, I have a lot of energy. I try to do way more things that I can, like, and it ends up like not working out. So I tried to do that and then I had to stop because I was so busy and traveling so much and I'm not home being able to cook. So I had to stop and then I looked at this as an, oh wow, like I finally can do this. I'm stuck at home. I'm not traveling. I could cook all
Mm-hmm.
I want and I could really like I could film like 40 of them and then once this is over and I start traveling, I have like this huge database where I could just
This
keep
cue.
rolling them out. Yeah, so I was like, okay, I need to take advantage of this, and it honestly it's worked out so well, and like brands have loved it, and brands have wanted to work with me from like the first one. So I'm really excited about it. I think it's something that's gonna like it's gonna continue.
It's so dope because like when you're making these videos, you can tell that like, because I mean, I feel like a lot of people are kind of using this time, and shout out to them, but they're like, I want to make my workout at home videos and this or that, which I see that you've been doing as well. But like, just the quality in which you're doing it, like, you're not like just setting up your iPhone and you're like, okay, guys, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. You're like making such bomb ass recipes that I see people like in China and like they're just reaching so many people, and it's just so well done. So honestly, just kudos to you for that. Like like we said, it's such an inspiration to us.
Thank you. Honestly, I get goosebumps. Like I'm all day looking at like my story mentions because it's crazy to me. Like I have people in like other parts of the world doing the recipes, and the fact that I'm like I was sitting the other day and I'm like, okay, right now, I don't even know it, but there's probably people in all over the world at the same time making a recipe that I put out there, and like I inspired them to get up and cook and do something, and like I get chills. Like it's crazy. It's crazy.
I
Yeah,
mean, you just
it
gave
is.
me chills.
It is wild to think about because I think like, you know, being influencers and constantly creating the content that we make, I think we forget because we're so used to seeing numbers on a screen and just, you know, pictures behind a screen. I think we forget that there are people behind these numbers. You know,
Mhm.
Mhm.
like even when Jess and I talk about the growth of the podcast and we're like looking at our numbers and we're like, oh, you know, we compare ourselves to bigger podcasts. We're like, oh, well, it could be better. And then something I always say is like, Jess, imagine this many people in a room. That's a fuck ton of people. Like
That's a
listening
fuck
to our
ton.
show for an hour, hearing our stories. Like that's something to be proud of. So
Mhm.
yeah, like I think it's funny when you when you see the power of like your influence, when you see people actually taking time out of their day to make something that you gave them, that you created, that's like so fulfilling and cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then
And
when they say, "Oh my god, it tastes so good," or "I liked it," you almost feel like you
You made
gave
it for
that person
them.
a little bit of happiness that day. Like, "Oh my god, like they ate something they I love eating things that I love." So that means that I'm like, "Oh my god, thanks to the recipe I put out, they just tried something that they loved, and like it just feels like I'm like spreading, a little bit of happiness everywhere, you know? I don't know. I love it."
no,
Yeah,
that's
no.
so beautiful. I love
And
that.
it gives a deeper meaning to what we do because a lot of it, you know, it can be seen as surface level and a lot of it is like beauty hacks or, you know, just makeup and shopping and stuff like that. But when you do something like cooking, something that unites everyone, no matter what culture, what language you speak, that's great. Like that's so fulfilling and that's true influence, you know?
Yeah. And it definitely
Everybody
makes me feel
eats.
better about it, about the whole, influencer.
Mhm.
Mhm. It's crazy, and I tweeted yesterday about my shaved head, and I got multiple responses from like I got one response. This girl was like, "I've been considering shaving my head for a while. I just shaved my head because of this tweet." I was like, "What the fuck?"
She
Like
needs to
that.
reply with a picture. Pixar
I
didn't
know.
happen.
Right, I know. I'm like, I need to see this. But like it's just so crazy cuz and I love what you said like we do get so like numb to just seeing these numbers, but there really are people behind these numbers and I that's true influencing, I guess.
It is. Okay, so if you weren't doing this, just curious to know. I'm also curious to know if you went to school and if you did, what you studied. But what do you think you would be pursuing right now if you were not doing the influencing and the modeling?
Oh my god, I'm like all over the place because I always wanted to do so many different things and they don't even like go together. I love interior designing. I think that if I wasn't influencing, I would want to be an interior designer right now. Um, but when I was going to school, I wanted to be a lawyer.
What?
So I
Heard.
wanted to be a lawyer. So I was gonna go to law school eventually, but then I already started modeling and traveling when I was in not high school, in college. So before I finished like the first 4 years before you could go to law school, right? So once I was traveling and like doing all these things and I was finally making a little bit of money, obviously going to school was a little bit harder. I still finished, but like the last 2 years I had to do like 90% of it online, and then because I was doing the influencing, getting started, I wasn't able to do like full time, but I was getting started making a little bit of money. I was like, you know what, let me do marketing. So I ended up graduating with a bachelor's in marketing. But it was all because everything changed and I couldn't go to school and like I was traveling, and but in the beginning it was like I wanted to be a lawyer. I'm gonna go to law school. Like
That's so interesting.
Good for you though. I was the same way. Like I actually went into college poli sci and I was like, I'm gonna be a lawyer because everyone, growing up was like, she's feisty, which is a really nice way of telling a little girl she's a bitch. Um so yeah, I was poli sci and then same did you go to FIU?
yeah,
Okay, yeah. And
Go
then
Panthers.
pause up, baby. Honestly, shout out to you for finishing though, because
We have it.
we did not.
Yeah, I honestly, at that point, like because I was traveling and making money, I was like, am I ever gonna use this degree?
But it's
So
good just to
I
have.
didn't want to, but I knew that it was like a huge deal for my mom and my family. And it's like, okay, I have 2 years left. It's not gonna kill me. It's like, what am I doing? I'm traveling and modeling. I could do this on my computer, like wherever I am. And I actually had a really good time. And I actually was a little bit depressed when I graduated because while I was doing it, like let's say I was in Spain, I would go to a coffee shop in Spain and I study in the coffee shop. And it's much more entertaining to do that in another country than doing it like here in Miami, like studying. You feel like you're studying. Over there, I'm like, oh, like this boss woman in a coffee shop, whatever, right? Like, you put these ideas in your head to make it more entertaining for yourself. So, and I loved it. And I knew that everything that I was doing is because I'm still in school, right? But once I graduated, I was like, oh fuck, like what do I do now? Does that mean that I need to go get a real job? And you get all these like all this pressure that it's like what I'm doing maybe isn't real. Like people are asking me, what do you do for a living? And I'm taking photos. Like I wasn't taking it that seriously because obviously I wasn't making that much money back then. And then I felt like the real world was crashing on me and I had to be an adult and I had to go and get a real job. So it made me a little bit depressed, honestly, for the first couple of months. And then I was like, I don't need this shit.
Heard that.
I love that you said that because I think as it's hard as influencers because I know like for Jess and I, like we haven't even finished our degrees and that was like a big struggle a few years ago if we were going to finish, if we weren't, we still don't know if we are. But it's hard because there's like this new creative freedom that's offered to people who are, you know, content creators. And then there's this traditional career that our parents, that's all our parents and grandparents know, right? And we feel that constant pressure from kind of our families of like, well, what about a retirement fund? What about benefits? What about insurance? What about taxes? It's like all those benefits we don't necessarily get to reap from. So we have to be creative in different ways. Like Justin and I have a Roth IRA account, and you know we have to get creative with our accountants. But do you ever have any doubt? I know you love what you do, but is there any doubt about like, is this a real career, or like, what am I gonna do in 5 or 10 years? What are your thoughts on that?
So I don't anymore. Before I did, because
Okay.
obviously I hadn't gotten to maybe the level that I am now. So
Mhm.
obviously, yes, I would have doubts. And obviously, I think that the things that people say brings you down a little bit because when people try to make it seem like this isn't a reputable job, like it kind of gets to you. And I hate that a lot of people think that if you're a social media influencer, it means that you're not a smart person. And like even your parents are like, oh, you're so smart, like you went to school and you did this and blah blah blah. Like why aren't you maybe doing something bigger, which my mom would want me to get like a real job earlier, like before I was like already at this level. And I was kind of like, you want me to go get a job and work for someone else when I'm creating my own damn business right now. So what do you rather me do? I have my own business, or you want me to go work for somebody else and their marketing department? Like, and people, because it's something new, they don't realize that. But this takes a lot of work into it. It isn't just putting on a cute outfit and taking photos, like you're building a business. And so I'm not scared of it now because I know that this only opens doors for so many other things. And it doesn't mean that I'm going to be a social influencer for the rest of my life. It's just going to open so many doors for everything else that I'm going to do in my life. So at this point,
Yeah.
I'm in a very happy place.
Yeah.
Love that.
I think because there's no set, like, when you work with a firm or like you get in with a big marketing agency, there's like kind of this set roadmap for you. Like even Jess and I were at where were we? At a fucking mortgage firm for a year. And they give you this set roadmap of like what your career is going to look like how much money you're
A
going to
ladder
start
to
making
success.
after 2 years and after 3 years, after 5 years. And at this point, you'll get this benefit. So I think because we don't have that type of roadmap, it could be scary because it's unknown, but it's about kind of just like trusting yourself and your capabilities and trusting the universe. Like you said, this opens so many doors of opportunities. And I've had the same conversations with my mom when I started doing this. I was just like, I don't know where this is going to lead, but it's going to be somewhere good. And then I'm going to make the most of it and, figure out what's next. And you kind of just have to like trust the process of that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people kind of underestimate what it takes or what it took to get here. Like if we didn't have a good head on our shoulders, we wouldn't have been as successful as we are in this. And like
You have to be a
it
hustler.
yeah, and I mean like do you think that it's just crazy because people really assume like oh, like you're an influencer because you can't do anything else. And like, no, we're influencers because we can do everything else and we chose to do this. Like we chose to work for ourselves and we chose to hustle. And it's like, of course, like we are not gonna, of course I'd love to be the grandma influencer and like stunting on everyone else, like old as fuck. But we also are realistic and know that like because of our audiences and because of this platform, so many doors have been opened. And like sometimes I do get that like that anxiety, that paranoia of like, shit, what the fuck am I gonna do for the rest of my life?
What am
But
I
then
doing with my life?
what am I doing with my life? But it's also like I know that the minute you start being like, okay, I'm ready for the next thing presents itself to you. So it's really just like that trust in the process.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
also the next thing, because we have this platform, it's going to be easier for us to dive into our next thing, depending on what it is, of course. And like it's kind of like just a way to open doors for future projects that you want to work on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that, and I also think that question, that ultimate question of like, what am I doing with my life? I don't think that people who are in traditional 9 to 5 careers don't ask that question either. Because like, I don't know, I just think of the friends I have who are in 9 to 5s, and they still ask themselves, they're like, am I really going to be doing this my entire life? Like it's not any more comforting to know that you're going to be in the same company forever, or like, retiring with them, or I don't know. I'm just saying I think there's that
No one
level
has it figured out.
of, yeah, there's that level of doubt no matter like what you do, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I
No.
think I think that's a good point. And a good example that I have is, for example, like my brother, he has like a super stable job. He fixes airplane engines, and it's like a super stable job. He has a family, he makes good money, and he is just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. I want to work for myself. I want to work for myself. I want to work for myself, which is basically what I do. I work for myself. But he has the traditional job, like 9 to 5 type of thing, and he doesn't want that. And he is like, is this what I'm going to do for the rest of my life? I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. I don't want to have a boss, and I don't want to. So even when you have a traditional job, then you still want to change to do something else. Like it's going to happen with every single job. Like unless you're doing something that you're passionate about, you're always going to ask yourself that as well. So no matter what, you kind of skip the question.
Right. So I think it's a matter of really trying to figure out what you do love, or figure out something that you're okay doing. It doesn't make you miserable, but it gives you the time, freedom, and money to do things that you absolutely love and you're passionate about.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you do like wake up at fucking the ass crack of dawn, what does a day look like in your life? Like in, let's say, I mean, things are a little bit different right now given the quarantine, but what does a normal day for you look like?
Okay, so I guess especially that we're talking about it not being a traditional job, my routine changes so much, like every single day. Every day I'll wake up at a different time, and sometimes I'll be in a different country or a different city, and I'm not always sleeping in my bed. I do definitely try to work out every single day, or maybe like 5, 6 times a week. One day of the week I'm hungover usually.
I love how you schedule.
Takes that into account.
I love it.
For the most part, my routine changes so much, but I would say I do content probably 4 times a week. So 4 days out of the week, I'm doing content. Yeah, I know.
Me
And
and Josh are like, cut that.
because
Couldn't be us.
I don't only do the content like for post on my page. I also do like I shoot a lot of campaigns like for collections for websites. So I don't post those on my page. People don't see that, but the work goes in. So like some of those campaigns take me 2 full days to shoot or things like that. So definitely shooting a lot. And then if not, I usually go out of town. Every single month I'll go on a trip for work or whatever it is, and they're usually content trips. So for the most part, I would say a lot of the time I'm doing content. And then I have a creative day every week where it's like a day where I sit down and it's just jotting down creative things that I want to do, planning out a shoot, like a theme, like just jotting down and like sit, like not no makeup all day, no taking photos. It's just about creating ideas for future things that I want to do. So,
I love that.
Wow,
yeah.
I love that.
Just taking notes.
Taking notes, brother. So creative day. Tell me more about this.
Yeah, it's
No,
cool.
it's so good.
you guys can sit and say, okay, like let's come up with new ideas. But for that whole day, all you do is eat and sit in a table and like just think and think and think and come up with ideas, make a chart, write things down, and don't take any photos, nothing. Like it's just about thinking about the creativity, and then you could go and execute them another day.
I love that. That's so great, and it's important to like to carve out that space, because if you're not intentional about that, like it kind of always will get put on the back burner, or like you find that you don't have the time. So I love that you like make the time once a week to sit down and do that.
And so, I mean, I'm sure I know how many people find you as an inspiration, but when you're sitting down and having these like honest creative talks with yourself, where do you find inspiration from? Like, is it certain people? Is it certain places? Like, and I'm sure, from traveling and everything, you get super inspired, but I'm just curious as to kind of what brings you inspiration.
Well, I mean, obviously, there's a few people on like social media that inspire me. I don't know if it's specifically like on those days, but in general, like they inspire me all the time. But also things that are happening in the world, like events that are happening in the world, you know, random things going on that just like that would be interesting at the moment, and even just like my mom inspires me. Like she'll randomly text me like funny things that I should do or things like that. I don't know.
Aw, I love
That's
that.
awesome. I love it like when like cuz even my cousins and like my sister like will send me like a TikTok or something and they're like you need to recreate this and I'm like I'm on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now that we're in quarantine, what does a day look like for you? Because and I'm sure like I know you're super extroverted. So how have you kind of been handling everything and staying sane in this time as well?
So it's crazy. I'm way busier now than I was before quarantine. I don't even know how this has happened. And the other day, I was talking to my boyfriend, and I was like, and I like being busy. You guys know that I like doing a million things throughout the day. But I was like, damn, like it's been 3 weeks, and I've never, not once, sat on the couch and watched TV during the day. I watch a
Wow.
TV show at night every night before going to bed, but during the day I have not once sat and watched TV. And I see everybody on social media saying like, oh, like putting up the Netflix, like, are you still watching? Blah 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 blah. And I was like, damn, like I love being super busy, but I kind of want one of those days. Like I feel like
Like
why?
having FOMO for being bored.
And but for some reason I've been so busy because I told myself I wanted to do so many things that now I wake up and I work out and then I do a cooking thing and then I do something else and then I do all these emails and then like I'm constantly doing stuff all day. So I'm super busy and I thought that maybe the content stuff was going to slow down a little bit, but a lot of brands are looking for more marketing because of the situation. So and then once I did the first cooking episode, I was going to do one a week, and then I got flooded with emails of people wanting to do one with their brand. So then I ended up booking more work from that side, and then I told myself I was going to do workout videos because everybody's asking me for them. So then I've been doing workout videos, and so I honestly have been nonstop. It's crazy.
Do
Love that.
you how do you schedule out your days? Do you like write down a to-do list, or do you time block?
I'm really bad at doing that. Um,
Hey, whatever you're doing is working. So
I'm so
Facts.
bad at doing that. I do know what I want to do the next day. I need to get better at writing it down because, and even Patrick tells me all the time, he goes, this is why you get stressed sometimes because I wake up and I'm like, oh, I need to do this and I need to do that and I need to do that. And he goes,
right.
just write things down the day before in your to-do list. And then when you wake up the next day, you have structure. But I'm bad at doing that. Honestly, that's one of the things that I need to work on. Because I wake up and I'm like, wait, I need to do this too, and this too, and this too. And it's like, wait, which one do I do first?
You can
But
get
Right.
overwhelmed.
yeah, it's overwhelming sometimes. So I know that I should get better at it and I still don't do it. So I don't know, maybe one day.
So bringing it back to what you said about like every morning you wake up and do the one task, that's awesome and I highly recommend it. That's what I do as well. Like I make my bed every morning, but even before that, and I Olivia and I both struggle with this, it's like getting out of the comfy bed. Like we're snuggled up little burritos. Like what actually motivates you to roll out of bed? Because I feel like those
Dancing.
are just two completely different things, you know what I mean?
Well, one is that I have so many things to do. I have to get out of bed no matter what. But I
Staying busy.
for some reason like I don't like just hanging out in bed all day. A lot of people do, and
Lucky.
I don't think that it's like necessarily wrong. It's just the days that if I wake up and I stay in bed till 10 in the morning, I don't feel good about myself for some reason, which sucks because you should be able to stay in bed till 10 in the morning and feel good about it. But I'm just that I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. But for me, I like doing stuff. Like I like being out and doing stuff. So the reason it makes me feel bad is because then it's 10 in the morning and I'm like, wow, I could have done so many things if I would have been up by 7. And now look, I just wasted all this time and doing nothing. And it's almost like there's time of my life that I'm not going to get back unless I'm doing something really fun in the bed till 10 in the morning. But if you're just sitting in bed not doing anything, it's like I'm back. So yeah, that's just the way I see it. Like I feel like life is so short and I want to make sure that I use all of my time as much as I can. So I really love waking up early, and that's why we were talking about my view from my bed. And I'm like so blessed that I can wake up and see the sunrise, and that's why I never put my blinds down. And it's just I don't even need my alarm clock. As soon as the sun starts coming up, and I'm like, this is the best way to wake up, isn't it?
Truly.
Sunrise. Why wouldn't I get up from bed? So I like to get up. I'll go dance. Sometimes I'll come work out on my balcony during quarantine because before I would never work out on my balcony ever. But I think I'm going to start doing it. I think it's like a new tradition for me.
Yeah.
I love that. Building new traditions during quarantine.
Yeah, new habits. I love that. Getting creative.
Also, I love that you said that you like don't like put your blinds down, and I think that's a pro tip for anyone who may have trouble waking up in the morning. Like I consider myself a morning person too. I don't really have a lot of trouble waking up in the morning, and I think it's because I leave all my blinds open. So like my apartment gets flooded with light, and it's like, and I've actually read something, or maybe Liv, you even told me about this, or I read it. Like, if you open your eyes and you just see like the blue sky, like the blue of the sky, something in you is like, all right, it's time to wake up. So
that was a Rob Dial podcast that I listened to as well.
we
It
both
tells
listened to it.
it like tells your brain some sort of chemical
Yeah,
reaction shit.
yeah, that's where we found it. But
Isn't it such a beautiful way to wake up? Because if you wake up with your alarm, like, oh my God, like you wake up already in distress, right? But if you wake
Yeah.
up little by little and you first open your eyes, but the sun isn't fully up, so it's like, all right, I'm going to go back to sleep for another 10 minutes. And then eventually you wake up again and you're like, oh, okay, it's officially out. It's like such a nice, gradual way to wake up.
Yeah, and it's nature's
God,
alarm
I love
clock.
that.
Like the earth is like, all right, time to start the day. And you're like, okay.
No, I'm going back to bed.
That's how I imagine it in my head. So you have like, like I mentioned before, you keep a very happy, positive, energetic kind of theme to your Instagram. And I know that's not a front because we know you, we're friends with you. We know that's just your genuine energy. How do you stay so happy, so positive, so energetic? Is I know a lot of it might be kind of like in you, in your genes, because you say you just like wake up and you're ready to go. How much of that do you think is like natural, and how much of that do you work
Think
on?
it's
You work on,
cultivated.
being
I
positive and
still have
happy.
my days. I have my days so many times, and like the days that I'm not posting a dancing video, it's probably because I woke up in the wrong side of bed. It doesn't happen every single day. I'm human and things bother me, or like, like a month or 2 months ago, I was dealing with really bad like skin issues, and I would wake up and I like getting things done. I would wake up and look in the mirror and go back to sleep, and I would look at my boyfriend and say, "Don't even talk to me all day." Like it was really affecting me. So that happened to me for like a good, I don't know, it was like 2 months ago for a long time. So yeah, I have my moments, but I think that in general, I am a very cheery, like hyper happy person. My mom is the same way, so I kind of probably got it from her. All my friends that know me and my mom, like they're always laughing at us because all we do is scream. Like we go to a party and we're like, like we love to make people around us happy, and we like to like bring people's energy up. And I've always loved it too, because it's like one of the things that I love most about people, when people make me feel a certain way, and like I kind of learned like, wow, that person made me feel so good and make me so happy. I want to do that to people. Like that's how I want to be. You don't see someone that's like mean or rude and put people down and say, oh, I want to be like that person. So I kind of just became the person I like the people that make me feel happy. I just want to become that person.
I love that.
I love that.
Energy is contagious.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
It truly
And
is.
so you mentioned that you had, a little bit of a skin issue, and I know that can obviously affect our jobs a lot, because I've recently, like within the past like 2 years, had some really bad skin issues, and I had to take care of it, and it was like like same way. I would literally look at myself in the mirror and be like, I do not like what I see. You know, it completely demotivates you. Have you ever struggled with confidence or feeling secure about yourself? Like, and we know that you're super confident. Like, you wake up every morning dancing, and obviously you're super fucking hot. So that's a plus. But
That
have you
helps.
ever, yeah. Do you think that the confidence that you were like born with it, did you get it from your mom? Or is it something that you've kind of had to cultivate over the years as well?
I mean, I've always, here and there you feel insecure about certain things. I think for the most part, I've been pretty confident, but not even because, oh my God, I think I'm so hot. It's just more like confident and like I like who I am. But I've had so many times where I feel super insecure. Like, for example, with the skin issue, it wasn't like, oh, whatever, I have pimples, but I still know I'm hot. So I'm going to go walk around thinking that I'm hot. No, like I would look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, oh my God, like look at my face. And it's like, it's crazy because then if you're a public figure, you walk around and people are looking at you and they're like, oh my God, look at her, she doesn't look like that on her photos. Or
Yeah.
you feel bad, or what really pissed me off, that I was like, I feel like I need to put makeup on just to go to the gym. And I'm like, I don't want to put makeup on to go to the gym. And like that would make me feel so bad. It made me not even want to go to the gym, or like, so that would make me feel super insecure. Like the whole skin issue, that was like the worst. The worst. I would literally cry about it because it's so bad.
No,
Yeah.
same.
So yeah, sometimes I do feel insecure, but I think that for the most part, I'm pretty happy with who I am.
Mhm. And do you
Yeah.
feel like the confidence comes from within, or like how do you remain confident even when, like, obviously we are in the public eye, and so we're subject to a lot of criticism and stupid internet trolls. So how do you feel like you remain confident?
Um, it kind of sometimes it gets to me a little bit, not even because I necessarily believe what people say, but it just obviously it's hurtful when people say mean things. But also sometimes it gets to me, even if I don't care what they're saying about me, just to even think that there's people out there that say the sort of things, that is kind of like a
Mhm.
bummer. But for the most part, I just try to think about like the good things about myself. Like don't focus on the things that I lack or whatever. Just focus on the things that are good.
Yeah, I
And
think that's good advice for someone who is maybe struggling with self-confidence or just, finding that confidence to be who they are. I always love, like, when I see you dancing, I feel like that's a really confident thing to do because even like I was a dancer for years and I still like in public parties and stuff, like just knows like I'm very low key with my dancing. And then like I will watch you dance and I'm like, man, maybe I should be a little more like fucking out there with my shit. Like I can
Yeah.
dance, you know? So to see you do that, I'm like, to me, it's like, wow, maybe that's confidence. Like maybe that's the epitome of like, I don't know, just owning your shit and like feeling
self-assurance.
feeling good, looking good, like living your truth. Like that's what I see when I see you dancing and just like being silly and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think that's inspiring, and I think it's really good advice to tell others like think about what you do have, not about what you're lacking, and that's in
Mhm.
everyday life. That's just finding gratitude in our health and our well-being and the roof over our heads.
Yeah, and by the way, with the whole dancing thing, you don't even need to know how to dance. But if let's say you look at a video of someone dancing and smiling, and they're just like this, like isn't that automatically gonna put a smile on your face? Like it kind of just like mimics the smile on your
Yeah.
face. You see someone like just having so much fun and like
Yeah.
acting that way. So to me, like when I do the dances, I just feel like I just want to radiate the good energy to everyone. It doesn't matter if you know how to dance or not.
Mhm.
Mhm. And I love that because a lot of people, obviously sad people could look at that and be like, "Oh, she wants the attention, she likes the attention." But it's like it's what you're doing is honestly a selfless thing. Like you're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it to spread joy to other people and to have that energy be infectious. So I love that.
Yeah, and honestly, even when I do like dances where it's like I'm like looking hot and I'm like shaking my hips like Shakira and things like that, that isn't me trying to show off. Like that's just me feeling good about myself. Like I woke up, I
Yeah.
didn't feel bloated that morning. I felt like I looked good, and it's like, isn't it good to turn yourself on? Like, yes, of course, you feel good when you think that you look good and blah blah blah. So it isn't necessarily showing off, but it's just you feeling good in your own skin and like just exuding that confidence. But it isn't necessarily like, oh, I want to show off something.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I like what you said about having confidence, like, even, when we have our insecurities and our skin issues or whatever it may be, like, I think what you said about being confident in who you are is so important because, and Jess and I touched on this a little in our last episode when we talked about her shaving her head. It's like being confident in your appearance is one thing, but being confident in who you are, like that's at the core, like that's real confidence, you know,
Mhm.
like, and that can sometimes overpower the insecurities about your appearance. Like when you know just who you are inside and that you're
At
a
your core.
genuine good person and you're like living and speaking your truth and you're good to others, you know, like I don't know. I think we need to start valuing that confidence over the appearance.
100%.
And if you could tell, I'm just curious, if you could tell 17-year-old Cindy anything, what would you tell her right now? And
7.
on the spot, I
Yeah.
know. Take a minute if you need to.
I would probably say to not take things too seriously. I'm way happier now, probably, than I was at 17. And like I said before all this, you would think, like, what am I going to do? You know, when I graduated college, that I was like, oh my God, like, do I need to do this? Do I need to do that? I would say to not take things too seriously because everything always gets better. Things resolve itself, and you just need to be happy and have fun along the way.
Absolutely. Everything always works itself out. And I feel like that's exactly what I would tell my younger self, my little sister, everything. Like everything will always work itself out. So I love
Yeah,
that.
trust the process. When you and also we touched on this in the last episode too, but being influencers and, you know, talking to the camera every day and really putting yourself out there, are you ever scared of people's judgment from your million plus followers? Like does that before you post a story of you talking or dancing or whatever it is, do you ever have that thought of like what are people think going to think about this?
Not really, honestly. And you
Good.
see me on my story like downing shots if I feel like it. Some people are like, "Oh, why are you drinking?" Blah blah blah. And I'm just like, I don't care. Like I'm gonna do what I want to do. And it started off just me. Okay, on my page, like my feed posts, those are all very structured things that I need to post. And I couldn't be authentically myself through my feed posts. And I decided that my story was going to be a heck of a good fucking time. And I was going to do what I do and I was going to do whatever I wanted to do and have fun with it and just really be myself and like be cheesy and goofy or whatever it is. And so I put stuff on my story that is authentically me. And so I don't feel like I need to hide it or I don't feel like I need to like censor it because I'm not lying about anything. Like this is who I am. If you don't like it, don't follow me. You know, like I don't want to put a mask on in my stories. So I think that's why I kind of don't care because like what we were saying, like I know who I am and I'm happy with who I am. So I don't mind putting my real self out there.
I love that.
Perf.
So good. So being a big influencer and knowing that, you know, I have friends who like follow you who don't even know. I think I have one friend and she was like, "Oh my god, you know Cindy?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we're friends." Like so even to see like that reach with people I know is so cool and you know, you have to keep in mind there's girls in college following you and girls in high school following you and like people just looking up to you as inspiration. And I know on social media it's really hard to not compare ourselves to other people. Like even like Justin and I do it all the time and we have to stop ourselves from doing it. What do you think is like maybe your advice to those girls who follow you and want to be just like you or they're like, "Oh, I wish I was you know, more like her or prettier like her, skinny like her, like, you know, all that negative self talk." And I know you wouldn't want that for people because, you know, that's not what we're here to do. We're here to inspire, not make people feel less about themselves. What would you say to those people who look at your profile and think those things?
So, I mean, what I even try to practice myself is that when I see someone that is, I think, is either more beautiful or more skinny or whatever it is that you like in someone, I I like to just admire it, and it's something that motivates you to become better. But it should never be something that brings you down. And I'm like a huge advocate for like expressing some like love for somebody else or admiring what they do and like rooting them on and being happy for people. And I think one of the ugliest qualities is when you see someone that has more than you and instead of being happy for them and say I'm proud of you, you just kind of like whatever, you know. And I think that when you start acting that way, you look at these things instead of as something to bring you down, but something to inspire you and motivate you. And then at the end of the day, it's like what we were saying, you need to focus on what you have because maybe I have, you know, skinny legs, but then you have something better than I don't have. You know what I mean? Like everybody has something.
Right.
And then you have to remember what we put out on social media is the things that we like about ourselves, right? Don't we want
Right.
to the things that we love about ourselves, there's so many other things that we don't love about ourselves that we don't put out on social media. So you can't compare my good qualities to your bad qualities. Like that makes no sense. So
Yeah.
I think that just focusing on being happy for people and admiring them and like rooting them on and things like that would just it's gonna make you a happier person anyways, right? Because if you're happy
Yeah.
for people, you're happy.
Yeah, I love that. And also just like, we always say this, but everyone's human. Like we all have our insecurities. Instagram is a highlight reel. Like you said, we're putting our best self out there. Like we're putting our most marketable self out there. We're putting our prettiest self out there. Like we don't roll, I mean, maybe you do, but like most of us don't roll out of bed looking like how we do in our Instagram feed pictures, So it's like we're human. We have insecurities. Like it's no different than the person who's on the other side of the screen looking at the photos and looking at the stories.
Yeah, it's so funny. This has nothing really to do with it, but people are like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you're so skinny and stay in such good shape and you eat so bad." And it's like, who the hell says I eat pizza 5 times a day because I post a pizza? Like people need to realize that
Right.
because when you post something doesn't mean that it's what you do all the time. Yes, I do have
Right.
pasta a lot, but I do eat healthy the other part of the time. So it's like
Mhm.
people see social media and they still think that that's all there is. Like you need to realize there's 24 hours in a day. A lot goes on in a day.
Yeah, a lot goes on that we also don't share.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What do
and
you
it's hard. It's
Go
hard to judge people because like even like someone like made some ignorant comment on one of my posts the other day that like just wasn't true, and like I said something back to it because I'm super bad at responding to trolls. Like
We're
I
working on it.
I compulsively do it. But I was like, that's not true. And he's like, well, I would have known if you did it because you post everything in your life. I was like, there's 24 hours in a day. And you think that all I do is sit my ass here and document all of it? Like,
We were
of
being
course, like
IG live all day.
yeah, like I'm sorry. I have an actual life outside of all this. Yeah, and of course it's a highlight reel, but there's just so much more that people just don't like. We're human. We're actually out there working. We're spending time with our friends, we're spending time with our family, or we're just sitting our asses in bed and so like it's people like kind of see this highlight reel and kind of
Misconception.
and have their own picture of what you and your life look like when in
Yeah.
reality it could be similar or it could be entirely different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think this question just came to mind. What do you think the biggest misconception is about you?
Um, I don't know if it is the biggest misconception, but most of the time when I meet people, they're all like kind of shocked that I'm not a bitch. But that's weird because I don't think that I come off as a bitch on my Instagram at all. But most of the time that I meet girls, but I think that's just a misconception with influencers in general that we
Or
think we're
women in general, I don't know.
yeah, but mainly
That's on
influencers.
period.
Mainly influencers because we're out there putting photos of us looking cute all day. So it kind of makes it seem like, oh, this girl thinks that she's cool or she thinks that she's hot or like, and like
Yeah.
I got a DM one time of I was walking out of a coffee shop and I opened the door for someone and someone else is coming. So I ended up opening the door for like a million people. And then I got a DM saying, oh my God, like I was one of the people you held the door open for. And I'm so shocked. Like I would have never thought like you
Oh.
the coffee shop opening the door for us. And I'm just like, why does being Cindy Prado, an influencer, make me a bad person? I'm just opening the door. Like everybody should do that for someone coming behind them, right? And because
Basic human thing.
yeah, and because I did it, they're like, I can't believe you just held the door open for me. I can't believe it. So it's kind of weird because I don't think I come off as a bitch on my Instagram, but for some reason people are still shocked when they meet me in person and they see that I'm like a super regular person.
That's so interesting. Yeah, maybe like they might think that you're like a diva, but you just look like a diva, sweetie. You don't act like one.
Yeah. Or also people when you're dealing with social media, like there's so many things that are fake that a lot of people can also think that you're just pretending to be nice because it's social media, but maybe
Oh, yeah.
in person. So just because I don't come off as a bitch on Instagram doesn't mean that people don't believe it. A lot
Right.
of people think, oh, she's just like there's just show.
Huh. So interesting.
Liv, out of curiosity, do you think there's a misconception about you?
I've been told that I look what's the word? I'm having a brain fart.
That you look like a
Intimidating.
bitch? Oh,
No, just
sorry.
intimidating.
I mean to put
Well,
words in your mouth
shit.
there.
Tell me how you really feel.
I mean, no, I would 100% see that because I mean, sometimes I'll be sitting here with you and I'm like, is she mad at me or does she just look like that?
No, just my resting bitch face. Sorry.
No, and before we met, I was for sure intimidated by you. Like I still like distinctly remember that.
So weird. So
Yeah, it
weird
is
to me.
weird.
I've gotten that multiple times. I'm like, I feel like I look
Especially
nice.
I mean, especially because you're so docile. In a
What
good
is?
way. In a good way.
Oh, you mean like just chill, like calm?
You're calm. Yeah, you're calm.
Gotcha.
Jess, what
You're
about
like
you?
um I would probably say yeah, probably people think I'm a bitch. I'd have to say. I mean, they're not wrong, but
There's no misconception there.
there's no
So
yeah, I mean, I feel like people are really surprised when they see that I'm like I'm I'm goofy, I'm quirky, and I don't want to like put words in
Jess is
anyone's
only a
mouth.
bitch if you're on her bad side. If you're on her bad side, yeah, she's a bitch.
Or if
But
you're
if you're on her good side, she's an angel.
Yeah. Yeah. So, thanks, Liv.
Okay, let's wrap this up. Cindy, we want to ask you what is next for Cindy Prado?
So I mean, I don't really want to say exactly what is next, but
Okay.
definitely,
Okay.
Ooh.
I'm definitely working on putting out a product.
Ooh.
And then I'm definitely going to do something with the whole cooking thing. I'm like
Yes.
super motivated and inspired with doing something with that, like to the point where it's like I almost wanted to like stop everything that I was doing and like just do that. So definitely something with that, and definitely working on some type of
Mhm.
product.
Love that for you.
I love how you were like, I wanted to drop everything and do that. Like, that's such a good feeling. And I just want to like say that.
When you
Like,
get so
when,
inspired.
when you get so inspired, you're like, oh my God, like, this is all I want to spend my time doing. And not to
And it's
divulge too much
probably
into
the
the
same with you
product.
guys.
Huh?
Sorry, I was saying it's probably the same with you guys on the podcast. Like I can imagine you guys sat down one day and said, "Hey, let's start a podcast." Oh my God, let's stop everything we're doing. We need to, like when you get inspired by something you really love, you're just like, okay, this is it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's true. It
Mhm.
takes over.
And like I said, not to divulge too much into the product, but is there a timeline that we can give our listeners that we can look out for this
No
product in?
timeline yet.
No
No timeline.
timeline yet? All right.
When there is, I will probably put it out there.
Perfect. We'll keep the brothers on their toes. We'll let them know.
I'll come in here and make an announcement.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect.
We'll have
Okay,
you
so
back
let's
on whenever you launch it.
yes. Shall we get into our deep dive of
Deep dive.
questions? Okay, so these are 3 questions we ask every guest. You can keep it simple, you can make it lengthy, whatever you want, totally up to you. We're just gonna fire them off to you and let's do it.
So our
Okay.
first question.
Go ahead.
Our first question is, what's your why?
My why would have to be my family. Mainly everything I do is for them, to make them happy, to help them. They're like obviously a huge part of my life. My second would probably be something as simple as just my happiness. Like everything I do is because I want to be happy, honestly. Like whether it's go have a cat or go to the beach or work this job, like everything ultimately is for my happiness. And probably because I want my life to be a message, I guess I would say. Not per se like a legacy or anything like that, but while I'm alive, like I want my life to be a message, to help people, whether it's to like help them get up and do things during the day and have energy and get things done, or just be happy and be themselves. So those are probably the 3 things.
Love.
Beautiful.
Okay, the next question is what is your favorite quote and what does it mean to you?
Okay, so I have 2 favorite quotes because I feel like
Okay.
one can really sum up everything.
Okay.
And one is reach for the stars, but keep your feet on the ground, because I think it's obviously very important to try to reach as high as you possibly can and do as much as you want, but to keep your feet on the ground and always be humble, be nice to people, be kind, be there for your friends, be there for your family, and don't let it get to you too much. And then the other one is don't count the days, but make the days count. And as you know, everything we've just talked about. Like, it's like one of my main things that I just want to wake up and either do as much as I can, but even if I'm not working, like instead of just sitting around and not doing anything, that means that you could be calling your mom, you could be making your cousin's day, or you could just make the entire day count, because you're not going to get it back ever, unfortunately.
I love that. And I honestly, to be completely honest, I feel like I could apply that to my life more. So thank you.
Yeah, I definitely need to be better about like calling family specifically, and kind of even like those in between moments. I feel like a lot of the time we can like just let time pass instead of like making that time count. So I love that you
Because
said
of
that as
social
well.
media, like it's so easy to like, oh my god, I have 2 hours, I don't have anything to do until I go here. Oh, let me just sit here on my phone for 2 hours. 2 hours pass by and you did shit. You did not.
Yep.
And I don't mean you have to get up and be super productive. Like, I'm not a robot. Like, everybody chills. Like, I'm not like this crazy person. But something as simple as, I had 2 hours. What good thing can I do? Let me just call my mom, make her day. Let me call my mom, or let me, like,
Right.
little thing. It doesn't have to be a huge task, or be superwoman, but just like do something to make that moment count.
Love that.
And it's like, and not to divulge on this too much, but I also love that you said like call your mom and like make their day. And like you'll realize that when you do these things, you're not only making that person's day, but you're also brightening up your day as well, because those doing those little things are so fulfilling. Like you'll realize
It's
how refreshed
self-care.
you feel after a conversation with a loved one. So it's like it's
Mhm.
not only for them, but for yourself as well.
Yeah.
It's
But
emotional self-care. We talked about
mhm.
that in our self-care versus self-sabotage episode. If you guys haven't listened to that, go do that. It's a good one.
And our last question, a little bit of a doozy. It's, what do you think separates successful people from those who give up, fail, or never get started on their dream?
I think the mindset is very important, of course. Um, how strong you feel about your goals and how dedicated you are, and if you're scared of taking risks versus you want to be in a comfortable level. All of that plays a part. And it's like how they say, like, people that talk about people or people that talk about ideas, like, when even like in high school and college, you see a group of guys talking about they want to build a rocket ship, even if it's like something stupid that's never going to happen, but those people have dreams and they're probably going to do something with their lives, versus the other guys over there talking about the girl with the fat ass. Like, the ideas you talk about with your friends, like, it isn't about having an idea and keeping it to yourself. If you talk about your ideas, like, you're expanding them, and like, it's going to make you want to work toward there. So I think that's important. And also, I think it's really important to work for what you want most in life. I think there's also like a quote that says, I forgot how it goes. Like, don't give up what you want most in life for what you want right now. And I think that's so important, because, and I know it's tough for people, because there's a lot of people that they need to go to this job because they need to put food on the table for their family, and they need to do that. So they're like, how am I going to work for what I want most when I need to do what I need right now? And it's hard to
Right.
balance. So I know it's like, it's tough for some people, but at the end of the day, like, you don't give up your biggest goal in life for something that you need right now. You make the time. And if it means, like, for example, how like we worked for free for 2 years, if it means that you're going to get home and instead of working out that day, or instead of do this, you're going to work really hard for that thing that you really want most without giving up on it, it means that for 2 years you're going to struggle and maybe be super miserable because you're not going out and partying with your friends. But at the end of the day, you didn't give that up for what you wanted at the moment. And I think that's really important, that you never stop trying to work for that one goal and that one dream.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing.
I love that so much.
Liv's emotional, I could tell.
You're getting me
He's like, all right,
emo.
I'm gonna get to work.
No, I love that. That's great, because I mean, that's like what we preach on this podcast, and it's like all we could ever want for our audience and our listeners is just like to not settle, and like if they're not happy, you have the choice in your life. You are sitting in the driver's seat. Like, it may not be easy, it will probably be hard, but it's worth it, because like you said, life is short and we got one shot at this until we're reincarnated into our next life. But
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, I think this has been such a great episode. We've just wrapped it up. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, babe.
Thank you. The one and only Cindy Prado. Where can people find you if they want to listen and see and hear more?
At Cindy Prado on Instagram.
Okay.
And that's Prado, spelled Prado, for those of us who are like Olivia and can't spell. And do you have a
Awesome,
YouTube as
guys.
well, or do you post everything on IGTV?
On IGTV. I'm going to transition soon-ish, eventually. The thing is that I had never really started posting that many videos until quarantine. So I will transition, but for now, yeah, it's on IGTV.
Perfect. Well, thanks so much for coming on, babe. I think this has been a great episode. I hope all the brothers have loved it. And brothers is what we call our
Yeah,
listeners.
we call our audience, in case you've been wondering, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, we hope you guys love this episode. Please, please, please share in your stories. Tag the podcast, tag Cindy, show us you're listening. We'll repost everything. And have a great week and kill it.
Yeah. I hope this
Make
inspired you. Hope it entertained you. And we love you all.
and make the days count.
Woo!
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.